Hey guys, Lunarspawn27 here, bringing you Bleach, chapter 632, Friend 2. That's right, we are still continuing off with Bazz-B's flashback, this time 5 years later. Now during the 5 years, Haschwalth and Bazz-B have been training, and Bazz-B's skills have been improving. However, Haschwalth seemed to have no talent for a Quincy. He couldn't even create a bow, let alone gather a single drop of reishi. According to Bazz-B, Haschwalth might be this kind of Quincy that was told in myths. In the myth, once every few decades, a Quincy would be born that would be labeled as an incomplete being, so Haschwalth might be this incomplete being. It's unknown whether Haschwalth knows this or not, but one thing's for sure, he has been training his ass off in the art of the sword and bow, so his skills on the bow and the sword are improving, but he still can't gather any reishi. So because of that, Bazz-B knows that teaming up with Haschwalth wouldn't get him closer to killing Yhwach, but there was no way he would abandon Haschwalth. And then one day, Yhwach's military brigade arrives in the Quincy village, and one thing to point out, the two guys in the military brigade looked familiar to me, so I went to check once again at Bleach chapter 509, and I'm pretty sure that these two were also faces that the fake Yhwach saw when he fought against Yamamoto when he did Zanka no Tachi South. So these two might have also been killed by Yamamoto, and according to chapter 509, their names are Argala and Hubert, although I don't know which one's Argala and which one's Hubert. Anyway, they're there to announce the creation of the new vanguard called the Sternritters. There are extremely strict requirements in order to join the Sternritters, because this group will be the one to invade Soul Society. The brigade tells the townsfolk that Yhwach believes that if Soul Society is left alone, they'll become a threat to the Quincies in the near future. Bazz-B, thinking this was a great opportunity, goes up to the brigade, dragging Haschwalth with him, saying that they want to apply to join the Sternritters. Now, we actually get a little bit more information on Bazz-B. Apparently, Bazz-B was the son of the late lord at that manor that we saw in the previous chapter that caught on fire. So we can assume that Bazz-B's father used to rule the town that they're in, or something, and Yhwach, wanting to rule every single territory that the Quincies resided in, burned down the mansion and killed Bazz-B's father so that he can rule that land. That also explains even more why Bazz-B wants revenge on Yhwach, because he killed his father. Anyway, the military brigade leaves, but before they do, the guy who made the announcement tells Bazz-B that there will be an exam held on a later date, and advises him to hone his skills until then. It's not some childish diversion or distraction, and he also tells him to not get his hopes up. He turns to leave for the second time, but his exit was blocked by Bazz-B shooting an arrow in front of him. Not letting this opportunity to go away, Bazz-B was so desperate that he was even going to challenge the military officer to a fight. And if he wins, then Bazz-B will get his title and position. This pisses off the military officer, and Bazz-B just eggs him on, saying that a military officer was slaughtered by a monkey, something that he'll tell his fellow comrades, who will pass on the message to Yhwach. And then their fight was about to begin, as the military officer was about to unsheath his sword, and Bazz-B still has his crossbow. But all of a sudden, he falls to the ground, his crossbow breaks apart, because guess who's right behind him? Yep, it is none other than Yhwach, and holy crap, that horse of his. I mean, a kind of horse for only Yhwach to ride on? It must be a descendant of Kokuo, the Black King. I mean, it has to be, because it's the only thing that's resisting Yhwach's Reiatsu, which is the reason why not only Bazz-B, but everyone in the town are literally falling flat on their faces. Well, except for one other person, but I will get to that later. The reason why Yhwach was there was to find what he was looking for, an individual who shall become his right-hand man. Now, Bazz-B assumed that it was going to be him, but no, it wasn't Bazz-B, it was Haschwalth, and he was the only one standing up while everyone was on the ground face down. Yhwach goes up to Haschwalth, and the chapter ends with him saying, "I know your name, Jugram Haschwalth, my other half." So yeah, that is Bleach chapter 632. What did I think? Oh, I thought the chapter was okay. Although there were parts of the flashback that did feel like it was dragging on, but the bits and pieces of information that we learned in this chapter was very very appreciative. I had no idea Haschwalth was this kind of incomplete Quincy that had no talent and can't even gather any reishi. It makes him the complete opposite of Bazz-B, Bazz-B being the prodigy and Haschwalth being the hard worker that's not born with great talent. Now this kind of trope is done many times before in shonen, more specifically in Naruto, but I wonder if Haschwalth really has no talent as a Quincy, or maybe he has some sort of hidden power that he's not aware of. As for why Yhwach referred to him as his other half, well, maybe it's because they're both opposites, yin and yang. I mean, you have Yhwach as the Almighty, a Quincy with such great power, and then you have Haschwalth, an incomplete Quincy who doesn't have any power. In fact, he's the only one that's not affected by Yhwach's Reiatsu. So both being opposites might be why Yhwach referred to Haschwalth as his other half. That, or he wants a Quincy who doesn't have his own power, or is an incomplete Quincy, so that Yhwach can mold him into one that will be by his side serving him. And with Haschwalth, I really don't see why he would want revenge against Yhwach. Yes, he is responsible for the fire that killed his uncle, but his uncle was an abusive prick who may or may not have molested him, so I'd say, you know what, screw the uncle. So if this is how Haschwalth joined the Sternritters, then how did Bazz-B join? Is Haschwalth going to make a request for Bazz-B to join, or is Bazz-B going to be like everyone else and have to take the exam? And with Bazz-B, how's he going to react knowing that Haschwalth has been chosen instead of him? Well, either way, I am curious and looking forward to seeing what's going to happen next. So tell me guys, what do you think of this week's chapter of Bleach? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Any ideas as to why Yhwach referred to Haschwalth as his other half? What are your thoughts so far on Haschwalth being this incomplete Quincy? And why do you think he's the only one able to stand resisting Yhwach's immense Reiatsu? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to like the video if you like it and subscribe to more videos, and be sure to check out my Facebook fan page and Google+. So yeah, that is Bleach chapter 632. I'm LearnersBound27, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.